Hi community, and welcome back to another episode of the Multiple Birth Experience podcast. Now, on today's episode, I want to talk about a young lady by the name of Joanna Stoneneck. She's a Polish woman that was pregnant with triplets. Now, her story is very, very, very interesting. Some of you might, some of you might be stunned by what I'm about to say, because I was when I first read it. It was pretty much, like a bizarre, kind of crazy, kind of shocking-ish kind of story, but it's also a real story. It actually happened. It's a real life story. Now, Joanna was pregnant with triplets, and she currently holds the title for the longest labour. She holds the Guinness World Record title for the longest labour, or longest delivery, should I say. And her labour lasted 75 days. 75 days. Can you imagine being in labour for 75 days? Now, for those who, that have kids and had natural births, or even that had to push or go into labour, because I didn't go into labour. When I had my first child, I was induced and I went into labour probably for like a few hours overnight, and then the next day, literally, they said, yep, we have to go into operation for emergency C-section. So I didn't really experience the full-on water breaking and then the panicking of, oh my gosh, I don't know, I'm just thinking of how it is in the film. You panic, oh my gosh, my water will break, oh my gosh, the baby's coming, all of that stuff. I didn't experience none of that. My induction was planned. I was given a date because I was overdue. I was 2 weeks overdue, and then they induced me. The baby still didn't come after all those contractions. Nothing happened, and then the morning came, and then they said, yeah, we're gonna have to do an emergency C-section. And then with the twins, that was a planned C-section, so I didn't experience that either, even though they were trying to push for a natural birth, because they were actually trying to, they were dragging my pregnancy for longer than normal, just so that I can push, have a natural birth. But one of the twins, twin one, she was breech, and they were waiting for her to turn around so that I can push her out, because she was I think she was closer to my, the exit, the womb. Anyway, something like that. Anyway, she was close, but she was breech and she wasn't turning around. But there weren't no space for her to turn around, because I was literally carrying 14 pounds in total. So that's when they had to do the C-section. But anyway, Joanna, she was pregnant with triplets, and she went into labour at 21 weeks. 21 weeks, that's like 4 months and a week, because I think 20 weeks is 4 months. So 21 weeks is 4 months and 1 week. So that's quite early to go into labour. That is really, really early. So obviously the babies would have been premature. Now, when she went into labour at 21 weeks, she gave birth to one of the triplets. But unfortunately, that baby died. One of the triplets died, the one that she gave birth to at 21 weeks, could not survive. It was just too weak. Too weak to survive that ordeal. Too early and too weak. And unfortunately, the baby passed. So the doctors didn't want to risk another death, with the remaining two. The doctors didn't want to risk another death. Joanna definitely didn't want to risk another death. So they tried to delay the delivery as much as possible. And they resorted to making sure that, they did what they can. And what they chose to do to delay delivery was to make Joanna lay upside down. So after she gave birth to the first one, they, put, the umbilical cord and everything back into her womb. And then they made her turn upside down, where, I guess, because of gravity, I would assume it's because of gravity, because obviously where she's already open, and one has came out, they wanted to basically force the two to stay in. so that the two don't feel that they need to come out. So they turned her upside down, and she had to remain that way for the duration of her labor. So 24 hours a day, she was upside down until she gave birth to the twins. That's some crazy stuff, man. Can you imagine being upside down while you're pregnant? Come on now. Your belly is big as it is with one. Your belly is big, even bigger with two. So just imagine having three, but obviously, the one had passed, so she only had two inside her. But that's some emotional roller coaster you're going through. That's an emotional roller coaster, because in your mind, you're just hoping and praying that everything goes well. All you want to do is just make sure that your twins survive. Your baby survive, because the emotional, shocking, trauma of one that had passed, and then you just want to make sure the last two survive. So she was literally upside down for the next 75 days. That's 2.5 months probably. She was upside down for 24 hours a day. That is just crazy. The doctors gave her drugs to ease the pains from the contractions, and the umbilical cord, that as I mentioned, was, put back in her womb or her uterus, just so that everything remains intact. This is all just to preserve the labor, the pregnancy, and everything. They had to keep the babies alive. So after about 2.5 months, Joanna finally gave birth to 2 healthy babies, one being a girl and another being a boy. Thank God. The girl was named Iga, or Iga, I'm not sure how it's pronounced because they're Polish, but it's spelled Iga. And the boy was named Igacy, which is, I guess, the boy version of Iga. But I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it's spelled Igacy. And they were born in the neonatal clinic in the Polish town of Wrocław. So yeah, it all ended well. And she currently holds the world title, the Guinness World title, the Guinness World Records title of the longest labour and delivery in history ever. I don't think I've heard anything after that. But yeah, if you guys want to look that up, you can. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of this in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like our video. Make sure you share. And make sure you hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all our updates. And, share to your family and friends. Pass on the news and let us know what you think in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. All right then, guys. I'm your host, Tola Imad. And I'll see you next time on another episode of the Multiple Birth Experience podcast.